Hi, my name is Lokesh and I'm the founder of Letsbloom, a venture backed by Standard Chartered Ventures. Did you know that organizations across the world will be spending 400 billion US dollars this year on cloud computing and cloud platforms? The spend will grow at a compounded rate of 15% per annum over the next 7 years. Now let us focus on organizations operating in regulated industries such as financial services, healthcare, and government. These organizations are expected to spend around 150 to 200 billion US dollars this year for onboarding and running both legacy and new applications to cloud platforms such as AWS, Microsoft Azure, GCP, and Alibaba Cloud. If you are operating in a regulated industry, you would have experienced that building, testing, and deploying cloud-based applications is complex, slow, and expensive. By using the Letsbloom platform and marketplace, you can securely onboard your applications to the cloud quickly and securely co-create with third parties at a fast pace. What you did in months and years can now be done in days and weeks on the Letsbloom platform, up to 10 times faster at a fraction of the cost. We have two offerings. Our first offering is the Letsbloom Platform as a Service, which provides secure onboarding of applications to any cloud platform in a regulated industry. Our platform includes pre-built bank-grade security, compliance controls, CI/CD, and we offer a fully managed service across the application lifecycle from development to production. Our second offering is the Letsbloom Marketplace that allows our clients to use Letsbloom certified third-party apps instantly in a safe and secure manner. The security and compliance posture of all these third-party apps on the Letsbloom Marketplace is available at the click of a button. We help organizations, including independent software vendors, to accelerate revenue growth by selling to new enterprise clients through Letsbloom. If you operate in a regulated industry, are on a cloud adoption journey, or want to create better experiences for your clients, I welcome you to try the Letsbloom platform and marketplace. Our team will be delighted to help you and grow your business with bank-grade security and compliance. You can request early access on www.letsbloom.io. Thank you.
Hello and good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're dialing in from. Welcome to this SC Ventures podcast. I'm Wei Ming, your moderator for this session. Now, in case you're unfamiliar with SC Ventures, it is a business unit set up within Standard Chartered Bank to do three things. One, to enable innovation within the bank, mobilizing and empowering our 85,000 team of people across 60 locations to ideate and solve real business problems and or explore new opportunities for our bank as well as our client. Secondly, we also invest in our fintech partners, taking minority stakes in them and deepening our strategic partnership with them. Thirdly, we test, build, and launch new ventures as separate business entities. Why do we do that? We believe that with the significant technology innovation and investments that we're seeing in this space, is creating a unique opportunity for us to test new business models and create new partnerships to transform banking to make it more accessible and relevant to our clients, the marketplaces that we operate in, as well as to society at large. Now, one of these ventures which we will be featuring today is Letsbloom. This is a venture that has been in stealth mode for the last 2 years. I've known Lokesh Sharma, the founder of Letsbloom, for some years now, and I've had the pleasure of mentoring the team over the last 2 years. So today's conversation is going to be an unveiling of sorts. We will find out from Lokesh what Letsbloom is all about and why he thinks the proposition is so unique. We will also hear from Lokesh his entrepreneur journey as he built out the entire Letsbloom platform and marketplace, and why he has such deep convictions that the proposition will actually empower and accelerate innovation, especially for regulated entities, such as banks and insurance companies, whilst aiding also fintech adoption. We're also very pleased today to have with us Mr. Romil Turakia, Head of Product Engineering and Management for Insurance at Azentio Software Private Limited. Romil is one of the first customers and clients of Letsbloom, and as client validation is key for any early stage startup, we will hear from Romil his early insights on Letsbloom. Now, before we continue, just a quick logistical reminder. If you have any questions as we progress through this talk, please key into the chat and we'll try and manage them, answer those questions along the way. So first up then, a very warm welcome to both gentlemen.
Thank you.
Let's start with Lokesh.
Thank you.
Let's start with Lokesh. Lokesh, maybe you can give us a short introduction of yourself, as well as an introduction to Letsbloom, what it is, what problem is it solving for, and who are you solving it for?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Wei Ming. Thanks, Romil. Great to see you here. And thank you to everyone who's listening into the podcast. So firstly, a little bit about myself and my personal journey. I was born in India, born and brought up there, moved to Australia in about 97, and then came to Singapore in 2009. My journey in Australia was about studying and working with financial institutions, also working with government and some other regulated entities, and it's always been on the tech side. Coming into Singapore is a special place for me, like both personally and professionally. So personally, because like as a family, we had both our kids; they were born here, so it's frankly a blessing. And then also my wife, she took a career break when we had the kids, and then she was able to get back into the workforce. It actually shows how companies are progressive and they're really giving opportunities, to working moms to get back into the workforce. Then on a professional front, the journey in Singapore has been very enriching. I've been able to work with a lot of institutions, both banking and also on the startup side, right? Really just understanding, firstly, what are the challenges that we see within the financial institutions and other regulated entities as they think about deploying technology, right? Or deploying applications and solutions for their clients. And when you add a layer of cloud on the top, it makes that problem even more complex, right? So as part of this journey, right, I also had the opportunity to work with a lot of fintech partners, right? So just imagine working with over 100 startups in a year, meeting and talking to the founders with their highly talented teams, right? Really understanding what their value proposition is. At the same time, working with the business guys and the product owners who are close to the clients and figuring out what are the use cases that need to be solved. And then working collectively to take solutions to the market. I mean, this sounds firstly, it sounds brilliant, but the journey is not that straightforward. There are a lot of pain points that needed to be addressed. Now, my initial impression was, well, look, maybe we just need to make this POC journey a bit faster so we can experiment things faster, and then maybe we are able to take things to the market. Actually, it doesn't work like that in practice. Even if you're able to do an experiment, but then take 6 or 8 months to launch a service, you've given a suboptimal experience to your clients. So we really had to take a step back and think about why is it that this whole application building, testing, and deploying is so complex for financial institutions, right? Now there are two main aspects to this. The first part is the client's data and all interactions around the client data have to be protected, right? There are huge cybersecurity threats, right? From malicious actors, including malicious state-based actors, which are going systematically after businesses. So we need to provide a level of security, right, to all applications and to all clients who are willing to transact on cloud-based applications, right? The second piece is there's a very high and increasing cost of compliance. It is very hard to assemble teams of highly skilled people who understand the problem, who are able to look at it not just from the surface area of the threats that their application may expose, but actually get a wider perspective onto it. And then on an ongoing basis, keep this secure for the clients and for all their partners. Now, with the Letsbloom proposition, what we are building is a platform with pre-built bank-grade security and compliance. And we'll dig deeper into what this actually means, right? But it is just a very simple experience for any independent software vendor or a regulated entity, a financial institution, be it a bank or a non-bank, wanting to onboard their applications to the cloud. Now, either you can start thinking about, based on all the regulatory requirements and all the industry guidelines, what are the series of questions that we need to ask, right? You can create huge, you have to assemble very highly skilled teams. It's going to take a lot of time, right? Or you think about a mechanism where you are simply able to onboard your application through a very simple process to a multi-cloud platform. And by that I mean, we give our customers the choice, whether you want to be on AWS, Azure, or other leading cloud platforms, right? So you're able to onboard your applications and get instant observability from a security and compliance perspective. So now you're not worried about, hey, do I have all the control objectives or do I have all the technical controls? But actually the platform's doing that for you. We have assessed the controls, right, based on the requirements and the regulatory guidelines, right? We have codified them as technical controls. They are always on the platform. This is not a point-in-time activity. This is continuous compliance, continuous assurance, continuous security assurance, right? So if there is an auditor or a regulator who comes in, you're able to show, hey, this is my application. It is operating on the cloud, right? These are the controls, and this is the controls effectiveness. So you've got full evidences that you are able to share at the click of a button, right? So we want to take all the pain and the heavy lifting away and really enable our clients to take their applications onto the cloud so they can build new services and launch to the clients. Now, when we talk about building new services and launching to the clients, just taking your application to the cloud is not enough, right? You really need the ability, and this is not just for banks, right? It's the same for, if you think about the regulated industries, so not just financial services sector, but the healthcare sector, right? The government sector. So all of these service providers, they have to collaborate with third parties, right? With their ecosystem partners, with fintechs, who've got some great solutions, right? But they want to do this at pace. So how do you create that how do you give that ecosystem the ability to co-create safely, securely, and at fast pace? That is where the Letsbloom marketplace comes in. Because as we onboard applications to our marketplace, we are able to share the security and compliance posture. It is not just for a POC or a sandbox. We provide a full managed service. So you go from a sandbox to a live service in the market that you want to launch. Right? That's the Letsbloom proposition. And it helps our client, say, be 10 times faster at a fraction of the cost. It's a huge market, right? It's a huge market.
So you can hear from that the depth of Lokesh's passion, having spent the last 2-3 years, really building out this entire platform.
Yeah.
Let's bring Rommel into the conversation a little bit more. Yeah.
Yep.
So warm welcome again, Rommel, previously of Candela Lab, and now part of the Azentio Software Private Limited. First of all, congratulations on the acquisition by Azentio of your company.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rommel, so perhaps you can...
Very happy to be here.
Sorry about that. There's a slight lag. Rommel, maybe you can please share with us a little bit more about yourself, about Azentio Software Company, and especially the insurance division that you're actually responsible for, and especially around your strategic priorities as regards to moving to a cloud-first software as a service operating model for you as well as for your clients.
Sure, thanks. Thanks for having me over. As an introduction, I'm one of the founders of Candela Labs that recently got acquired by Azentio Software. Azentio Software is an Apex-backed software company. Apex is a private equity player, $60 billion of funds under management, and promoted companies like Duck Creek, etc., which most people in the insurance world would have heard. And Azentio's newly formed. Azentio's mission is to, we already provide to about 800 odd customers across 65 countries. We provide banking, financial services, insurance, and mid-market ERP solutions. The markets we've chosen to play in are Asia, Africa, Middle East, and most of the developing markets mainly. And as you'll see when we talk going forward, the complexities of the cloud journeys in each of these individual countries, they're quite diverse in their needs. And our software, which was largely on-premise earlier, we're in the middle of SaaSifying that, or getting it onto a SaaS platform, and we were looking for a partner. And we had several options, but we finally chose Letsbloom, and here we are.
Thank you, Ramal. I guess let's continue with that a little bit then. What was it unique? What was it in Letsbloom that you saw was unique compared to some of the other potential vendors and solutions out there?
Sure. So let's start from the motivation for even going on to the cloud and SaaS, because I suspect several software developers, software development companies, product companies are in a state where we were, which is, do we need to go to the cloud? How do we go to the cloud? Is private cloud okay? Is customers cloud okay? Or do we just go full-based, SaaS? And we figured out that we'd have to get sooner or later to becoming a SaaS-based company. All our customers were experiencing, they're launching new experimental products, and they don't know how things will scale. They want to start small, but instantly become big. And we had, there was a telling moment when there was a customer where we launched a new offering online, but it wasn't on the cloud and wasn't SaaS. And we hadn't expected that much of a response for the new offering. But as soon as we had, on the second day, I think the server came down on its knees, and we said, hey, this is obviously not, with so much innovation going on in InsurTech, I think we need to support our partners and not bring stuff down. So that was really the genesis of where we wanted to, what spurred us all along the cloud journey. And then we started looking for partners. And to your point, Vimeng, what we saw is we looked in the market for partners who'd help us get to become SaaS enabled or to be SaaSified. We did look at a couple of Israeli partners, for example. And, with the reputation that Israel has with security, etc., we thought it might be good. And then we came across Letsbloom and Lokesh. And we chose Letsbloom for a few reasons. One of which is, of course, Lokesh and his team, fantastic team. That was one of the big reasons. But the other was, of course, the diversity of the countries that we operate in, the 65 odd countries, the needs that they have are fairly complex. Some have, each of them has regulators in their countries that probably, they get inspired by each other, but want to be one up on each other, and they have different compliance needs and so on. And we have to meet all those compliance needs. And we saw that with Letsbloom, given the SC Ventures backing and bank-grade security, and the fact that it's perhaps, if it has the compliance and security posture, as Lokesh was explaining, across all of these countries, then we have it ready-made for us. So that was an easier solution, easier way to get to where we wanted to be. We do not want to manage compliance. We do not want to manage security. We don't want to manage DevOps, fleet of machines, etc., single tenant machines and so on the cloud. And we were looking for a partner for that. And remember, we did not have back then a cloud background at all, a SaaS background. So we needed a partner who would also provide tools for serving our customers quickly, managed services, etc., not just a security layer or a compliance layer. And Letsbloom had that offering as well, which was managed services in that sense. So that worked well for us. That was the second reason we chose Letsbloom. And the third, which I said last but not the least, the team walked us through several licensing models, etc., for our product to our customers, not licensing models for Letsbloom to us. So they are not just seemed, back then they seemed, but right now it's proven that they are invested in our success, in our pricing models to our customers, in the way we go to market to our customers, our prospects, etc. And so we were looking also for a partner and not just a tech provider or security or compliance layer provider. That's why we chose Letsbloom. Long answer to your short question, Vimeng.
Thank you, Rommel. I think that is indeed a very compelling proposition, isn't it? I've asked Lokesh, for example, exactly how many thousands of policies, risk control frameworks, validation guidelines, etc., has he actually codified into the Letsbloom solution, and that is actually across the entire life cycle of provisioning of the environment, vendor onboarding, application onboarding, tech risk, cybersecurity, etc., etc. All the lessons learned and gathered across all the 60 markets that we've actually operated in. And also, I think what was interesting in your response was also the fact that the design of that journey is from the different personas across developers, CTO roles, etc., thereby actually being able to also meet all the different needs and requirements as well. So perhaps then the question next is, how is this collaboration progressing at this point in time for Letsbloom as well as for Azentio? Maybe starting with you, Lokesh.
Sure. Thank you, Amy. So firstly, when we think about the partnership, really, because this really is a partnership, like Rommel very, very kindly took us, Rommel, thank you for that feedback on the team. Like they all value that, I can tell you that. And Letsbloom is nothing but the team that we've managed to put. And the fact is, we wouldn't be in existence if it wasn't for a charter client like Standard Chartered, but the first client, the first external client like Azentio. So we've really had the opportunity to really test the proposition and build it along the way, right? I remember my first meeting with Rommel in which I was taking him through the proposition, and I was really trying to suss out whether, hey, does it even make sense? And I distinctly remember Rommel saying, the niche that you've carved out in this, where ISVs wanting to SaaSify their business and wanting to really make money in their sleep, this is what we want to do. And so yes, I think we can do something over here. So it's really that journey that's been instrumental to our success to date. Now, in terms of the partnership, we have a joint go-to-market partnership, which frankly this is Rommel's construct. I'm just going to relay the same words. Rommel calls it catch, coach, close, right? So catch is where the Azentio business serves 800 clients in the 60 markets. They want to SaaSify the businesses. They have a pipeline of clients. We are providing the capability for the Azentio business to really hyperscale their business with the cloud providers, right? So in the catch phase, it is clients that Azentio is targeting, right? And that they come in as the initial pipeline. There is a coach phase where the teams are working together with Azentio's clients to take them through what security and compliance means and why this joint proposition makes sense, and how they can really achieve economies of scale. They can get better pricing, better experiences by consuming these cloud-based applications. So think of it as a joint pre-sales team with SME support from Bloom's side as well. Then there is the close, which is the contracting stage, because whilst we have a commercial construct and we've agreed on that, I think we've got to be flexible as we get to the end clients who are consuming services, and really take learnings from that and keep refining what our commercial model really is. So it is really the catch, coach, close, where both teams are collaborating, and then it's underpinned by a series of activities, be it from a branding perspective, a marketing perspective, right? So it's really a joint sales team helping Azentio expand their business and helping Bloom clearly get those same clients onto our platform as well. So we see Azentio as a huge anchor client for us.
While using those proof points to continue to develop the product offerings.
Absolutely, right? We've taken the applications on the platform, we've seen how they run, we're confident we can provision the services, keep them running. So it's validation, it's tech validation, there's business validation, and then commercial model validation as well.
So you've added to the platform all the lessons learned from a banking perspective.
Yeah.
And then now also building the additional requirements to actually to be able to support also the insurance sector as well.
Totally. I think the lessons learned point goes beyond this. Right? So Letsbloom in its journey has had a series of POC clients that we are working through to convert into deployment or production agreements. We've had learnings from them. We've really focused on achieving product market fit, and this is a continuous journey. Right? And we've been very heavily focused on usability testing and doing interviews and different types of not just interviews but demos and wireframing with potential clients, getting their feedback to really define what this product proposition needs to be to make sense for our clients. At the same time, and this is one of the biggest benefits of being incubated within SC Ventures, right? We've had access to SMEs within the bank, real use cases within the bank, and also tech talent within the bank. So really understanding the proposition that we're building when you have an enterprise client which is answerable to 60 regulators, right, in 60 countries. Sure. How does the what are the various criteria that the proposition must meet just table stakes to be in business? So we've had these proof points along the way, and just a plug-in for the phenomenal talent that we've got within the bank, because some of them didn't really need to spend time with us, but they did because they can see the value that we are creating. We're going to make lives easier for them, but also really help financial institutions bring personalized services to their clients faster. That's really what this is about.
Just to clarify, the SMEs that Lokesh was referring to early on, subject matter experts.
Subject matter experts.
We've been talking about small, medium enterprises quite a bit throughout this different
absolutely.
podcasts. Romil, from your perspective, because the client's insight is always critical for us, what are your thoughts in terms of how the collaboration is progressing so far?
So the collaboration is progressing extremely well. So right through the POC phase, we've had a lot of support from the team in how to even get our cloud-ready, cloud-native product to be a SaaS product. So right from the POC phase, we've had that kind of collaboration. We see that continuing in the catch phase right now. That's where we are at, and we're hungry, reaching out to all the customers. There's joint go-to-market plans, etc., all going on, and it's reached a level where people have noticed the Cloudflow.insure brand. That's what we've launched, and if you go to Cloudflow.insure, you'll see what this joint partnership has got brought out to the real world. It's live, it's right there, and people can try demos. They can try before you buy. So it enters that coach phase where we need to coach them then, and so on. That's already live. So that's a testament to how well we work together. Then getting onto the customer side, it looks like perhaps, keep our fingers crossed, but we might have a few customers coming on board within a quarter now of having launched that program, which I think is amazing, because the type of software we sell on it's called case management, automation, etc., intelligent automation, usually is a 9-month selling cycle. But the fact that they can try before they buy, it's SaaS, it's on a platform that's secure, definitely reduces the sales cycle. And insurers are lesser and lesser reluctant to then buy in this new manner, rather than in the old traditional manner where there's 9-month sales cycle, but then after that there's a 12-month or 16-month implementation cycle. Now literally 1 month try before you buy, 90 days implementation, just 4 people from your side, and it's time boxed and you're live. It's something that the world hasn't seen at all. I don't mean to plug for the product or Cloudflow.insure, but it is what Letsbloom has enabled as a security or compliance platform underneath, and the fact that we could go SaaS because of this. So that's how the partnership has gone.
Thank you, Romil. I think that is a very strong validation point. One question came in that might be relevant for this stage of the conversation. That is, following the collaboration, following the various POCs that you've been running in the last 6 months or so, what is next on your roadmap?
Okay, I think there are 2 aspects from the product roadmap perspective. Today we are live on Microsoft Azure and AWS. We are seeing demands for a couple of other public cloud platforms, firstly like Alibaba Cloud and also Oracle Cloud. Oracle Cloud, especially from Azentio perspective, where some of the clients in the African markets where there are, and the Middle Eastern markets where there are data residency requirements, they want to get onto the Oracle Cloud. Now, the way that we've structured the product, it doesn't take us long to bring in, an additional cloud platform on the line. So there's clearly that part. Then there is the marketplace side, which is, which is in the early stages. So today, what we are doing is we're giving our partners, our clients, the ability to take their applications onto the marketplace. Right? But when we think about a B2B marketplace in itself, right, that concept is still in the very early stages in the enterprise world. Even if you look at the AWS marketplace or the Microsoft Azure marketplace, they make very little revenue through that construct. There is a lot of potential over there, and that's where Bloom wants to be, right, through its API mesh, right, the platform of choice for interacting between enterprise clients and the service providers and the independent software vendors. So that's really what we are working on. Right? So this is where organizations like Standard Chartered and like others would be able to share privileged information with third parties without going through securely, without going through a lengthy onboarding process, because Letsbloom is going to take that accountability, right, of providing a layer which gives the security and assurance, which meets our clients' requirements, our end clients from an enterprise perspective, and really opens that space up to the independent software vendors so they can sell faster. So it's really bringing that ecosystem to life, and the ultimate beneficiary is going to be the end clients, who will get new experiences and much more much more enriching experiences.
Thank you, Lokesh. Maybe we switch gear a little bit and talk about your entrepreneur journey.
Sure.
Right. Maybe you can share with us some of the key highlights, and also, I guess, building a fintech from scratch is no small feat. So share with us also the key advantages and challenges that you faced, especially being part of a corporate innovation and incubation arm like SC Ventures. What do you think, or why do you think that has given you an unfair advantage?
Sure. Thank you, Heming. Actually, that's a great question. I've been thinking about that because I expected that. So firstly, building a startup from scratch is very difficult. There are no two ways about it. It is difficult. And in testament to the team that has really worked day and night, literally. We have a follow the sun sort of a construct in there with teams in various geographies, right? We couldn't have done it without them. So that's piece. At the same time, whilst it's so difficult, it is so enriching at so many levels. Right? Now, let's just first take the advantages that we have, which is like one of the most unfair advantage is when you're backed by a corporate venture, right? My life is not about, initially, is not about looking for the next 200K in funding so I can keep the venture going, right? So firstly, SC Ventures as an investor is super important, right? So that we can really focus on building the product. So that support, I'm very grateful for that support. The next piece is really understanding the use cases and the problem statements that we get from an organization like Standard Chartered Bank. You can solve a problem if you really understand what it is. And to understand that problem, you have to look at it from many different facets. What are the challenges that a product owner is seeing? What are the challenges that a business guy is seeing? What is it that the sales team is seeing? What is it that the tech teams are seeing? And then, what are the challenges that the risk and compliance functions think about it, right? What is the privacy team thinking about? What is what are the legal teams thinking about? What is that construct going to be? So being in a place where you have access to the use cases, to real world use cases, the ability to go with your business partners to the end clients and co-create solutions, right? Work with subject matter experts from the various domains, be it risk, compliance, privacy, legal, supply chain, right? Sourcing, right? You just start viewing the world in a different manner. You understand the pain points, and you start, and frankly, I realize now why certain things are so slow and why it takes 4 months, because all of these questions are very real. They're not asking us something that shouldn't be asked. It's just that the effectiveness piece is missing, and there's a layer of innovation that was missing based on how organizations have just grown organically. So once we understand the problem, then we are able to create a proposition. And that is why it was the proposition of the platform as a service with pre-built bank-grade security and compliance. So don't focus on the plumbing, basically, right, and the heavy lifting. And the focus on marketplace apps, so you can use one or multiple in a low-code manner with pre-built code to quickly take solutions to your clients from sandbox to production. Right? It's been a huge advantage being in SC Ventures for that. It also comes with some disadvantages, right? Sure. There are always two sides to a coin. Look, some of the processes probably do take a little bit longer than we would like them to be, and like the way that I would think about risk from a Letsbloom perspective, the risk reward piece and what's accepted, as a business owner, my risk acceptance level might be very different to what our investors' risk acceptance level might be, especially from a risk, compliance, and a security perspective. And this becomes a very challenging space because our proposition has security and compliance baked in. So like Alex says to me, he says, you got to be whiter than white. That's why I'm wearing a white shirt, by the way. So yeah, but that's like we have a much higher bar than many others because we have to demonstrate both inside the organization and to the external world. And we want to go based on our timeline, right? But it's a place where people are like it's a new construct. So so there are some frustrations in that process, but I think largely it's been it's a huge advantage.
It is an evolving
evolving
space,
stage,
right?
Yeah.
To the extent where risk, governance, etc., it is both a competitive advantage for us.
Absolutely.
The fact that we can actually bring a lot of that, framework, knowledge, expertise to bear, but at the same time also needing to understand where to pare it back, looking at the stage of the venture, etc., and we're continuously evolving that.
Totally.
Maybe then moving on to the partnership part a little bit more. It's key, partnership is key to any startup and especially also for incumbents. So let's touch a little bit about this because we spoke early on about the unique propositions, and let's push this a little bit further. Where do you think, and Romil, where do you think you guys are complementing each other really well at this point in time? And how much further do you want to push this partnership? How much harder do you want to push Lokesh and the team to also be able to accelerate your own value proposition as well? Maybe let's start with Romil before we move to Lokesh.
Sure. In fact, the Oracle Cloud bit that he talked about was more a partnership for us. So what we're seeing in the market is we've got customers across 65 countries, and each of them have different data residency requirements and so on. So in a certain way, we're also pushing the envelope with Lokesh team at Letsbloom to increase the feature set itself, like including more cloud partners, including how do I manage a fleet of customers if they're all single tenant and I want to see a common view across all of them. So hopefully we've positively contributed to the roadmap. So that's what we're already doing. Yep. But the second bit in terms of how we're going about this with aggression is bringing more and more applications from Azentio onto the cloud. So the first one was a trial one, all under the banner currently under cloudflow.insure. And right now, the first one was just new business and underwriting and all the rules and all the intelligent automation. But soon we'll be bringing in a completely browser-based, like a portal, an electronic point of sale. I dare say that those kind of, the traffic on that will be very different from the traffic that we've catered for in the current modules that have gone live in Cloudflow. Might be, we don't know, but as things evolve, those will also probably push the boundaries a little bit for Lokesh and us. And as we get our first few live customers on, we learn of newer I would say, reporting requirements from customers, which we may not have gathered or thought of. We've thought of almost everything as much as we can, but you never ever innovate in a silo. You always innovate with customers, and I'm sure they'll push the envelope on what kind of reporting, on what kind of upgrades, DevOps pipelines, etc. They'll keep pushing that agenda with us, and therefore we'll keep pushing that with Letsbloom. So that's how we're seeing it on the tech and the product side in terms of how we're thinking of pushing, working together in a partnership. On the sales and go-to-market side, we're thinking of activating the ecosystem pieces where there are partnerships, etc., and making sure we bring in some partners, and Letsbloom brings in some partners, and as the old adage goes, 1 + 1 becomes 11. And if we can do that, then of course we'd like to expedite that kind of journey on the go-to-market side where partners are concerned. And of course, the pure go-to-market, which is the catch phase that Lokesh talked about, where we reach out to just more customers. There are more than, I think, about 1,500 insurers, if I'm being conservative, among all the countries that we are in. Actually, much more than that, but the conservative view is about 1,500, who are aching to kind of come onto a platform like Cloudflow.insure. And it's for us to reach together and then coach them on there's fear about the cloud and SaaS as much as there is excitement. And we'd have to make sure that fear is allayed in the coaching side by Letsbloom, and we'll do the joint pre-sales together. So that's where we see this moving.
Thank you, Ramal. Indeed, the insurance sector is a huge one, a huge opportunity for us to be able to support you on.
Absolutely.
What about from your perspective, Lokesh? How would you like to sort of take this further, especially in regards to not only supporting Azentio in this phase, but also starting to look at expanding your POCs to a whole lot of other clients as well?
Absolutely. So firstly, Romil, we are going to stand with you, and we are going to support all the growth ambitions that Azentio has on the multi-cloud platforms, on the multiple jurisdictions. So that's there. When we now think about the partnership strategy for Letsbloom, right? You're going to see some announcements where, firstly, we are announcing, very soon we will be talking about a partnership with Microsoft Azure. Right? That's we are partners, but it's really about how we are going to have a joint sales team and go after enterprise clients. Right? So there is a partnership in the making there. There would be a very similar partnership with AWS in due course as well. We are working on that in parallel. Similarly, and having the partnerships with the cloud providers is frankly table stakes. This is something that we absolutely need, because we are going to enable their cloud adoption agenda, and we also want clients to come and use our platform. So it gives us it's a win-win for both parties, right? But then when we take that a bit further, there are global SIs, and I don't want to take names right now, but there are global SIs who have tremendous IP. And it is about bringing their IP onto the platform so that they are able to also change the way they sell into large enterprise clients. Because their licensing models change and their upgrade cycles change. Right? So it is, it will have a positive revenue impact on them. It will delight their clients because they will have the features that they need in time. Right? So we have to curate both, like I say, the buy side and the sell side of the platform. So we need to curate the ecosystem on the Letsbloom marketplace. Right? And at the same time, we want to use our secure platform as a service as the certification journey onto the marketplace. So we'll have, similarly, we'll have partnership arrangements coming on, that we'll announce in due course, which are going to be more use case centric. For example, how would we enable a digital escrow business? Right? So there's going to be things which are going to be use case or theme specific. There are capability specific partnerships that we would be doing, and there's going to be partnerships with the hyperscalers, which are essential to bring this ecosystem to life.
Conscious of the time, just a couple of last questions in terms of looking ahead. A question just came in, a couple of questions. One is, would you launch in the US?
Oh, absolutely.
And then the second question is, how can a fintech work with you?
Sure. Thank you. So yes, we would absolutely launch in the US. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. In fact, we have 3 waves of countries. It's in the first wave. You can simply start working with us by going to our website and just requesting early access. So if you go to www.letsbloom.io and you ask for, and there's a, you'll see request early access there. And if you just go through that, we will reach out to you. So we are building that the list of the pipeline of clients that we are going to be working with. So yeah, we're there. We are ready. We are ready for business. The launch announcements in the press and also the joint marketing announcements are going to be coming in a matter of days. So yeah, we are operational. We are live. We are ready for business.
Right. And how do fintechs work with you? Same thing.
Same thing. It's very simple. Sign up to the platform.
Right.
It's a very simple experience. You are onboarding your containerized applications onto the platform through a very simple flow. Our team's there to support you.
Right. Maybe some closing comments. Rommel, any closing comments from you? I know that this next phase is going to be big. It's going to be big. And you've expressed some of your expectations, especially how you like to push the Letsbloom team a little bit more in terms of being able to enable it. Any final points you like to make, especially taking into account this is FinTech Festival, and part of this is really about really embracing the wider ecosystem of FinTech partners and InsurTech included, I guess.
In fact, I wanted to address the potential InsurTech players, FinTech partners, ISVs, independent software vendors like ourselves, product companies. It's while we're in conversation with Lokesh, Letsbloom, to get SaaSified is not all about just signing up on the Letsbloom platform. There's a lot more. We've learned a lot of lessons from how to take an enterprise software onto the cloud and SaaS successfully, and it takes a lot more. Things like what's the landing page, what's a sign-up journey, what's a trial period, how do people navigate your software by themselves, and so on. So there's a lot more to SaaSifying your company or your products, and we're happy to, Lokesh and I are happy to share all our experiences with anyone who'd like to reach out to us. Just go to cloudflow.insure and contact us, and we're happy to walk you through that in a personal capacity. I do mentor quite a few startups, so why not? So that's the parting comment that I like to leave with the larger community at the Singapore FinTech Festival. Thanks for listening to us.
Thank you, Rommel. I think your partnership has been invaluable. And the amount of advice and direction you've actually shared and given to Letsbloom has been really, really instructional, right? And it's helped us to develop our proposition even more strongly. Lokesh, any final comments from you in the context of this FinTech Festival?
So firstly, it's great to have a very progressive regulator. Like in my personal capacity at Standard Chartered Bank for the FinTech initiatives, I've actually liaised and dealt and had meetings with them one-on-one where they've come in to look at how FinTech innovation actually happens in a bank. That experience has been invaluable. The women and men that came, the amount of experience that they have, right, and the young blood that's coming in, right, it really gives confidence that the whole ecosystem is going to be well looked after, because the guardrails in place are actually fantastic, right? They understand what we're doing. So, but at the end of it, we also want the clients to benefit for this, and the ecosystem is only successful if all the participants are willing to collaborate and co-create. We will absolutely play our part, right? And we are willing to work with all independent software vendors, startups, regardless of what stage you're at. Basically learn from you as well on this journey. It's not just about us giving you a cloud account with pre-built bank-grade security and controls, right? We will get stronger and we will improve if we are working with you. So that's really the next part of the journey that we're looking forward to.
Great, thank you, Lokesh.
Thank you.
So you've heard today the Letsbloom proposition. You've also received some really invaluable inputs from the very first customer, Azentio Software Private Limited. So if you're a regulated entity out there looking to migrate your application, development, testing, deployment onto the cloud, or you're actually a fintech or an ISV looking to accelerate your partner's migration, to launch and deploy into the cloud, check out Letsbloom at letsbloom.io. And also, if you want to check out the rest of our SC Ventures portfolio companies, as well as opportunities to collaborate and pitch for open calls, please reach out to us on our website, scventures.io, or the FinTech Bridge at fintechbridge.scventures.io. Thank you very much, Lokesh. Thank you very much, Rommel. And thank you all for dialing in today for this podcast. And have a pleasant day. Thank you.